Hi there, good afternoon everybody. Welcome to another peaceful piano session, a slightly different one this time, a special one. My name's Steve Luck. I forgot to introduce myself. My name's Steve Luck. I've got a brand new single out today and it's called Tesoro. I was wanting to just introduce you to it, I suppose, and play the piece for you, and then just talk a little bit about its composition and its recording. So I'd love to know if you're where you are, if you're watching this, whereabouts in the world are you watching this, and just let me know if you've got any. Let me know that you can hear me first of all. Hi to Kathy. Thanks for tuning in. If anybody else wants to drop a comment in the comment box just to say hello, I'm always grateful to receive comments on stuff like this that I'm doing. I think probably what's best to do first is just to do a brief introduction to the track, and then I'll play it for you, and then I'll go into a little bit more detail about how it came about and the kind of musical thoughts I was having when I was composing it. And then I'll play it for you again, but in a slightly different form. You can kind of judge about what some of the things that I've said in the context of some of the things that I've said. You may be able to hear some different elements coming out and stuff. So the inspiration for this was a photograph of a newborn baby. The track is dedicated to Ellie Brown. So hi to Mark and Gloria if you're watching. So without Mark and Gloria, Ellie wouldn't be here, and this track wouldn't be here necessarily in the same form. I was looking at this photograph. Mark is my cousin. And I was looking at the photograph of his brand new baby, and this was the kind of inspiration behind the composition. I suppose this was some of the things that it just created a sense of, I don't know, when you look at it, it's a universal thing. I think when people look at babies, they kind of see there's some beauty in there, and there's a kind of preciousness about their life, and there's a kind of innocence that's wrapped up in it. And I think that was really the kind of essence of what it is that I was trying to capture in the composition. So I'll play it for you now, and then we'll talk a little bit about the melody and other bits of it, and talk about how it works in a second. So so this is Tesoro. So there we go. That's Tesoro. That's the new single. As I was saying, I was trying to capture a kind of delicate and sort of very peaceful and beautiful sound And kind of, as I was looking at this picture of Ellie, this baby Ellie, I was thinking of this almost like a kind of quietness of like a church hymn. It's got a kind of hymnal sort of quality, I suppose. It took me back to when I was a music student. We had to do harmonisation of Bach chorales, and there's a melody involved here. There's that little tune, and it fits together with these chords a bit like this. So. Filled in the harmonies a bit like you would if it was a hymn, you know. So, and there's a little sort of melodic fragment, I suppose, which hints at the interval of a third. It's used quite often, and it's used to kind of balance the phrase out. We've got these 7 notes in the melody here. 7 notes in there, and the third starts, it rises up, and it's later on it's balanced by that falling third that kind of comes at the end of the phrase. And it's one of the things that makes melodies, I think, kind of bind together. It's when you have little kind of, it's not quite a repetition, but it's something that's related to what's gone earlier on. And if you study music, you kind of begin to understand when you hear melodies that there's lots of melodies that have this kind of sort of almost like a callback later on in the melody to what's gone before, and it can be an interval or it can be a rhythm or something. The second phrase, 7 notes again, balances the first phrase. Let's see if I can remember how to play it. And then the second one balances it, but it falls down here. It's going lower. It starts high and gets lower. Another 7-note phrase here. And there's a little added on to the end. And this little phrase on the end, it's a little kind of linking section that sort of led me up here to do a little kind of sweet sounding higher section in a major key. It's all been kind of in a minor key to start with, and now here's the major bit. Those nice kind of, like I say, church kind of chords. There's another thing going on, which is there's a bit of contrary motion in the way that it's constructed, so that the hands move towards each other. So when we climb up in the melody, we've got 2 notes. Then the melody begins to fall, and the left hand, the bass note at the bottom of the left hand, starts to move up. And then when we jump up in the right hand, it goes down in the left hand. This kind of idea of contrary motion just introduces a kind of sense of momentum in the piece. It sort of drives the phrase forward a little bit, So there's all of that stuff going on. There is what I was sort of also thoughtful about was using this amazing piano. This is a 114 years old, 15 years old. Is it 115 years old this year. 1905. This Bechstein grand piano. It has a lovely sound. It has a lovely kind of decay of sound, and by that what I mean is when you set the strings in motion by playing a chord like this one, for example. If you set them in motion, it's the way that they soften. The strings are moving in the air, and over a period of time, then the resistance in the air starts to slow the movement of the strings. And then the frequencies, all kind of the balance of the frequencies of the strings that are sounding, all begin to change. And I wanted to make use of that kind of sound really on this piece. The sonority of the piano, in this case, this one, but lots of other pianos do the same thing. We're using the sustain pedal, and there's this decay in the sound that happens over a period of time. The melody and the chord sequence, as I described before, are then just developed slightly. It's the same stuff, the chords are the same, the melody's the same. It's just a little bit busier in the second half, so they've got a slight little bit of arpeggiation in the left hand to kind of just boost the melody a little bit. finish off the phrase. Spread chord for this note. This ending, and you think it could just finish there, and then it goes into a coda section which does this, and a little repetition, an octave lower, and then again once more, and then finally there's the release onto the home chord for the ending. So that chord at the end, instead of, when we're expecting it to go, we're expecting it to resolve and go and kind of finish, and it doesn't. It goes to the coda. It's called it's like a suspended chord, and what we're doing is creating something called a plagal cadence, which again goes back to the whole church thing, which is plagal cadences. Often the other name for them is the amen cadence, because when you hear that, you have that kind of on the end of hymns quite often, and that's kind of what I've done with the end of the piece. So, hope you've enjoyed it. Hope you liked the piece. If you have liked it, then do try and help me out by sharing it around. The links to this post, wherever you're watching this on Facebook or YouTube or wherever, the links are in the description to the post, where you can listen to it on Spotify or Apple Music, or you can even go along and buy it on the Bandcamp link if you'd like to keep it. I'm going to finish off by just playing the video recording of the actual performance that I gave that's on the recording. It's not on this piano, it's on a different piano. It's on an upright piano that's got a piece of felt that goes in between the strings and the hammer, so it's on a felted piano. So it's a very different kind of softer, more rounded, and slightly kind of ethereal sort of sound. I hope you can get from this. So this is the official, let's call it the official music video, shall we? So here's the see if you can hear the difference between this piano and then the felted piano sound. This is the official music video, and then I'll just come back and say bye to a few folks at the end. Here we go. Well, there we go. That's the official music video. Thanks very much for staying with me this long while I rambled on about the compositional process and the recording and all of that stuff. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you have a lovely weekend. This tune is going to get its live premiere in front of an actual real live audience tomorrow night. In fact, at the Civic Theatre in Gosforth. And we're hoping, very much hoping, with fingers crossed, that we're going to be able to live stream the concert. So I'm going to be playing a half-hour set that includes that piece that you just heard, and then there's also going to be a set from the amazing Simeon Walker, who is the Leeds-based pianist and composer, and a kind of leading light in the contemporary classical music world, certainly here in the UK anyway. So it's going to be great. I'm hoping that we're going to be able to, if the technology allows, because the theatre have just installed, or in the process of installing, a brand new internet service in their building today. So as long as that's all up and running with no glitches, then we should be able to live stream the event tomorrow. It's on at 8 o'clock in the evening. So it's 8 o'clock here in the UK. I'm guessing for lots of parts of the States that's about 3 o'clock in the afternoon, I think, depending on where you are. And it's going to be later than that. It might be 8 o'clock in the morning in Australia, I think. I'm guessing something like that. Anyway, so I do hope you can join me wherever you are, and thanks very much for sticking with it. And hopefully we'll catch you at the next concert, which is tomorrow. And then I'll be back again with normal peaceful piano